Yeah.
What do we do to change it?
What do we do to change it? Vote. Go out and walk precincts.
We do. I've walked precincts for council, endlessly, but something has to change to make the thinking change and elect.
There's a story in the Rocky Day which sort of, I think, doesn't give justice to the importance of the issue. But in any poll that you look at, and polls are useful tools because they give you a general idea of where people are, and you can't go out and craft public policy because then you can't go out, but they give you an idea of what people are thinking. So in that sense, they are useful. Illegal immigration is still in the top 3. The economy is very important. People are concerned about losing their jobs. Here in Colorado, there's a whole industry, the oil and gas industry, where folks are worried about losing their jobs and their benefits. And so that's very high on people's minds. But illegal immigration is still there. But that hasn't translated into votes for or against candidates on election day. I don't know why that is, but I can tell you that if we intend to make any difference, it's going to be one person at a time. Mary and I were talking earlier about the way that you win votes is by going and talking with people directly, going door to door. And if we are brave enough to stand up at one of our community meetings and say this is an issue and this is where candidate X stands on the issue and this is where candidate Y is on the issue, and for those of you who really believe that this is the problem, you need to vote for candidate X. And that's how I think that we can get it done. Because there's a lot of money against us. There are wealthy East and West Coast interests who are against us, all of those of us here in flyover country. And that money's coming into states like Montana, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. And that's not going to stop. So what it means is that we have to just work hard, because we don't have the financial resources that the other side has. Yeah?
Representative McNulty. My name is Jerry Brown. I'm in Schaumburg, Illinois. Question.
I was born in Blue Island, Illinois.
Blue Island.
Yep.
A lot going on down there these days.
Yeah.
The question I had has to do with, I've been noticing more and more public venues being used for registering people for matricular consular. And whereby, I recognize private properties have the right to do what they want to do, but as taxpayers, if it's not right, what's being done there. And I'm just curious to know, is there any teeth that we put into what we do locally to verify how this is being done or how we can prevent it?
Yeah, we can. I think there's always the issue of ensuring that here in Colorado we have these things called home rule cities, and that's why Denver and Boulder and others are able to do a lot of the things that they do. But there's an opportunity to act on the local level, which in Colorado has been more effective. The state legislature has no longer become a pathway to get positive reforms enacted. And so what we've seen is in our experience, what has been more effective is going straight to municipality and going straight to the voters in, say, the city and county of Denver. We just had an issue on the ballot on August 12th that allows the city to impound cars, or requires the city to impound cars for folks who don't have a valid driver's license. And so going that route, no, not quite, close. Going that route, we've seen to be more effective. And so in these instances, I would say that that's the direction that we have to go.
My question has to do with sanctuary cities. The thing that I cannot understand is that doesn't federal law trump local law? If the federal government says that you're illegal, that you're in the country illegally, you are a felon and you're committing a crime. And all of a sudden, because of this whole rule reform, the cities are coming up and say, well, we can do whatever we want. And And I think it's probably because the federal government just lets them do it, they're just not enforcing their law. Is that what it amounts to?
I think that's a very clear assessment of the situation. Federal government, and I'm thankful for this, doesn't have federal officers on every street corner. The enforcement of these laws is left to county sheriffs and local police departments. And those are, of course, they report to the municipalities or to the county governments.
You know, I think what's
That's the problem.
happening is that when our federal government is not doing its job, our legislators, who we ask to represent us, aren't doing their job, I think eventually the people of this country are going to have to march on Washington and say that you are not doing your job, you are not holding up the American oath of office that you've taken. And we've got to hold them to that. And we've got to embarrass them, make the rest of the country realize that these people aren't doing their job. Most people in this country, they get up in the morning, they go to work, they do their job, and they want to just want to live their lives, thinking that the federal government is going to take care of the stuff that we're trying to, that is slipping away from us. And, well, that's how I feel about it.
Well said, well said.
I agree. Yeah, last question. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I know you've been talking about getting the problem from the grassroots level and in our, going to our municipalities and so forth. But I just have a lot of faith in our conservative talk radio and in our conservative TV. And I think getting the word out, getting the publicity out, opening the public's eyes, you know, I have a lot of faith in us Americans. And I think that if you open our eyes, knowledge is power. And if you open our eyes and show us the truth, I think that we will act on it and we will put pressure on those elected officials to make changes. But it's just constantly, consistently getting that word out and continuing, getting the public's eyes open.
That's right. Amen, sister. But to give you a quick example, before I leave you here today, to give you a quick example, O'Reilly is on Jessica's law, right? You all know Jessica's law. It's mandatory minimum sentences for those who commit violent sex offenses against children. I introduced legislation, me and Senator Josh Henry from Grand Junction over on the West Slope here in Colorado, introduced legislation that would have created mandatory minimum sentences for these violent child predators. People who, any common sense analysis would say, should be locked up for a very long time the first time. O'Reilly ran the photographs of the Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee on his television show over and over and over and over again. And yet they all still voted in lockstep to kill that bill. So we have our challenges. I don't think that we can count on if what's coming over the airwaves, the air cover that is coming in through very good talk radio outlets and television coverage is not backed up by an equally important grassroots effort, I don't think we're not going to see the level of change that we need to see, particularly on the public safety side, which is, I don't understand where some of these folks are coming from, but that's the way the votes come down. So we need to do it all, but most importantly, we just need to change people one person at a time. That's where it should be. Okay.
Yesterday, in Josh's backyard, the newspaper reported that on the weekend, a 29-year-old Mexican, 4 times deported, with 12 aliases, went to his ex-girlfriend's house with a gun, got access to the house, beat her up, got her caught in the door of his car, drove down the road, dragging her head, her back on the ground. And the next day, another Mexican national, 17 years old, you're a man in Mexico when you're 17, went to an elementary school in Grand Junction, kidnapped a little girl. You with me?
Yeah.
2 in Josh's backyard, and I didn't read it anyplace. I didn't see it on the television anyplace. Why is that?
I don't know. I hadn't heard about it.